All you need is a working oven. Check out a place dedicated to keeping appliances operational no matter how long they've been around. In fact, they say the older, the better. The kitchen's been called the heart of the home, and it's the oven that's been keeping things ticking since it was first created in 1490.
Baking in an oven goes back centuries ago into the European countries when they were cooking in brick or stone-type kiln ovens.
Since then, people have been improving on this indispensable invention, moving from wood or coal to gas and finally to electric. And John Jowers knows old ovens. He's building a business in rural Clayton, Georgia, refurbishing baking beauties.
Antique appliances are everywhere. They're in people's garages, their basements, their barns, their boathouses, you name it. They're just tucked away all over the place.
And antique aficionados from all over the country send John their rundown relics for a complete overhaul.
We haven't run across anything yet that could not be restored. It's dependent on how much time and how much money the person that owns the stove wants to put into it.
From replacing delicate knobs to hand-painting dials, each piece is restored to its original condition.
This is what we call the dungeon, and every piece that you see in here actually belongs to an individual.
Inside his warehouse, around 100 antique appliances await their transformation from trash to treasure.
Our restoration calendar right now is booked a year and a half in advance.
John's crew is bringing ovens and stoves back to life. From the ancient...
The oldest stove that we currently have in inventory is a perfect gas stove that was manufactured in 1906.
To the extravagant...
The most expensive stove that we have restored was a 1925 reliable gas stove. That stove was valued at $50,000.
Each decade offers something different.
This is a hot point electric stove from the mid-1920s. The manufacturer was making everything to be at waist level or above. The idea of stooping down low was not very fashionable at the time, hence the long, graceful legs that they sat on.
Legs got shorter as time went on, and in the 1930s, Art Deco ovens could be found either on the side or moving below the surface.
This would be the baking oven here. And then immediately below that is the broiler. This is a very unique broiler in that it comes out as a drawer. And once it comes out to this point, if you continue to pull it, it rises the broiler pan up to you so that the cook didn't have to stoop as far to turn the food over to broil the other side.
And even though it is decades old, the technology of the time was tremendous.
This clock actually is timed to the oven. One of the first ones where you could set the oven to start while you're away, bake the food, turn itself off.
In the 1940s, glass oven doors allowed cooks to get a peek at their food. Some even offered baking advice.
Roper was very well known for their in-the-door cooking chart. Their philosophy in their advertising campaign said, throw away your cookbook. You know, everything you need to know is right here in the door.
And in the 50s, car culture even crept into kitchen design.
But at the time, a lot of the appliance manufacturers were actually owned by automobile companies. So the appliance manufacturers were patterning the look of their appliances after what they were doing with their automobiles. You can look at a clock on a 50s stove and it looks like the speedometer on a 56 Buick.
They may look different, but from the 60s to today, ovens have changed very little.
The basic principle of the oven, how the oven thermostat works, all of that is basic technology that has been here for almost 100 years now.
Coming up next, check out how baking powder is put together and discover the identity behind this cupboard classic just ahead.